I'm Maggie. I work in ecosystem trust, and specifically I'm actually on the enterprise and migrations team. So I spend a lot of time thinking about how we can get enterprise migrating customers comfortable with the idea of using cloud apps. This will be a little bit of a higher level talk than some of the other ones here, because I'm not a developer, I'm a marketer, but I can help you kind of better contextualize all the stuff that we're talking about here today in customer value and in how we talk about Atlassian's platform as a whole. So we'll talk about the why behind everything, which is enterprise needs. Then we'll talk about what Atlassian's doing for our platform and how we can work together to meet some of these needs. And then in the end, I'll take us through a prioritization example to sort of help you think about, and actually let you know kind of how Atlassian thinks about prioritization for these types of features. So this is the number of paying customers we have in cloud today, according to our last shareholder letter. This represents a tremendous shift from on-premise to cloud, which is a big shift not just from workflow or from software upkeep toward workflow innovation, but also a huge shift in responsibility. So customers are very used to controlling everything on-premise, and in cloud they have to share some of that responsibility with us as Atlassian and with you as partners. So obviously, for enterprise customers, shifting from a world where they manage everything towards a more shared responsibility model can be a huge leap. If you were in Colin's talk, you know a lot about that already. In 2022, IBM reported that the average cost of a data breach was $4.35 million. So when a customer installs your app, they're really trusting that it's not going to cause something like this for them, a huge fine or a scandal. And just to double click on this, if you were in the App Access Rule talk yesterday, you've probably seen a lot of these stats, but I'll quickly repeat them. We at Atlassian regularly survey our migrating customers to learn about what they care about, what their concerns are. And during our last survey related to enterprise customer concerns, almost all of the things that they brought up were trust related. So 56% said that they want to know more about how we use and share data. 55% had security concerns. They wanted more information and control about data location, capture, and access. 37% specifically called out apps of all of the things in cloud that they're concerned about, and they wanted to know where app data is stored, what data apps can access. And finally, 37% wanted more controls like backup and restore and the ability to restrict app and user access to data. So when we survey customers specifically about what they look for when they're evaluating cloud apps, the same kind of general themes come up here. The ability to restrict access to data, the ability to store data in a trusted location, the ability to trust that apps are going to keep working, so uptime and compliance. In fact, 8 of the 10 top concerns of customers related to apps were trust related. So this stuff is important. What are we doing to meet these needs on the platform side? And then how do we kind of think about and talk about meeting these needs together for the ecosystem? So we've built trust throughout our platform to support our own products. Our investments in trust fall within our infrastructure, data management, and administration experiences. Here we're focused in 3 areas: resilience at scale in the infrastructure layer. Here we're focused on performance improvements and uptime SLAs that support 99.95% availability for our enterprise cloud products. Within the data layer, we're safeguarding our platform to mitigate risk of data loss in the event of outages or accidental deletion. We secure customer data through encryption, authorization, and authentication. And we also have data residency to protect customer data. We also meet compliance requirements, and we build controls to help customers meet their compliance requirements. So data protection is really about security, privacy, data management, and compliance. And then in our administration experience, we're very focused on enabling visibility and control at scale. So customers can see what's happening in their organization across permissions, access, and other changes, and maintain their security posture and meet compliance requirements. So of course, you're here at Atlas Camp, so this is probably the part of the platform that you care the most about. This is where you come in, bringing tremendous value to our customers by giving them use cases to extend their products. Here we're focused on the same things. So we're focused on resilience at scale, which Colin talked a lot about in his last talk, data protection, and visibility and control. So we talked a little bit at the beginning about how scary shared responsibility can be for a customer who's very used to on-premise. This gets even more complicated when a customer installs an app. So the shared responsibility model moves from one where it's just Atlassian and the customer to one where it's Atlassian, the customer, and you are playing a huge role here in protecting customer data. So a lot of our approach when it comes to data protection is focused on providing you with information and tools to meet customer needs. So you're in the driver's seat when it comes to data protection, but we have a few things in place, like cloud security requirements, which we update regularly, which you must meet. I'm sure you're all aware of these. We have the EcoScanner platform, which checks that these requirements are being met. And then if they're not being met, or if we find something and you don't respond to us in a timely manner, we do take action to protect customers. When building your apps, we also highly encourage you, and we enable tooling whenever possible to implement these secure by design principles. So customers are very concerned, as we saw in those surveys earlier, with access and sharing of data. So try to minimize access and egress whenever possible, and use infrastructure that customers have already vetted. So Atlassian's infrastructure, if you can. You can also showcase your commitment to data protection through investments like our bug bounty program. This is how you can get a cloud security participant badge on the marketplace. If you participate in the bug bounty program and make additional investments in support and reliability, you can get a cloud fortified badge. And actually, going back to our customer surveys that I referenced earlier, these badges actually showed up in the top 10 above popular things like ratings and reviews and installs as important to customers when evaluating trust, specifically enterprise customers. And then finally, we highly encourage you to support data residency if it's relevant for your apps. So with privacy regulations becoming more common globally, data residency allows customers to keep data in a region that they trust. And you can also show additional commitments through things like SOC 2 and ISO, which allow customers to see that you've had like an external third party verify some things about how your app works. And there are talks later today actually on data residency and SOC 2, so highly recommend checking those out if you want more details. So thinking back to the survey earlier, you may remember that many customer concerns are focused on understanding and controlling what happens to their data when they use cloud tools. So to meet these needs, in addition to data protection, we're also highly focused on visibility and control when it comes to apps. That's why we've made investments like the privacy and security tab. Highly recommend you fill this out. If you were in Colin's talk, you'll understand more kind of if a customer is faced with 20 apps that they're trying to vet, being able to find information in a consistent place is really important. It's also a great way to highlight any of these investments that you're making in your apps. It's a competitive differentiator for you. We also have a new UI in admin.atlassian.com where customers can see if your app offers data residency and where. So this gives customers more visibility. It also gives customers more control because they can actually request that your app data be moved to the same region as their host product. And we had a talk yesterday on the app access rule. We're enabling additional controls around what data apps can access. So this was a top concern that showed up in our surveys, and we're trying to give customers a little bit more control over this. So now let's talk a little bit about prioritizing. If you are in the driver's seat, figuring out what to do first is important. So let's use compliance as an example. Compliance is an important data protection topic. It allows customers to, it's either legally required for you or your customers, or it allows customers to easily answer questions like, how are you protecting my data from external bad actors like hackers? How are you protecting my data from internal bad actors like disgruntled rogue employees? And what limits can I put to data use in your product? So things like SOC 2 and ISO can really help customers answer those questions quickly. Obviously, there are a lot of different compliance frameworks out there, and they all cost money and time, so you can't do them all at once. So how do you go about thinking about where to start? One way is to survey, Atlassian often surveys our customers. We have a big research org that does this, but I've run surveys myself before. Like it's possible to do without a big team. When we surveyed our customers earlier this year specifically about app compliance and customer needs, this was generally the breakdown that we saw. So GDPR, ISO, SOC, there shouldn't be any huge surprises here. So understanding your audience's preferences is priority number one. You can do this through surveys, like I mentioned. You can also look for patterns in the security questionnaires that you're receiving. If something's coming up often, it's probably important. One thing that we do is we look at the geographic breakdown and industry breakdown of our on-premise customer base and try to understand sort of what regulations are they facing. So this is an important kind of piece of data for you to look at. And also sales and support insights. We rely heavily on these at Atlassian to figure out where to prioritize. And actually on this last topic, we have an e-learning course, quick plug, on the partner portal. So if you are curious about more methods of kind of figuring out customer insights and prioritizing, check out the customer segmentation e-learning course on the partner portal. So once you understand what customers need, you can cross-reference that with market knowledge. So what are other SaaS businesses that have enterprise customers doing? And then you can use those two pieces of information to kind of rank your potential investments by tier based on what is the size of the potential market that we could unlock by making this investment. So following our compliance example, in tier one, we've got multi-region, multi-industry standards at the top. These are the things that people in a lot of countries that are prominent among Atlassian customers will be looking for. We also have things here like table stakes requirements that most other SaaS businesses support, like SOC and ISO. Underneath that, we have one level more specificity, region-specific multi-industry standards. So while these are a little bit more specific in terms of the region that you can serve, they still are at least open to all the industries in that region. And then underneath that, we have regional and industry-specific regulations. And I want to quickly call out that just because something is in tier 3 doesn't mean that it's not super important to the customers it applies to. So if US healthcare is a really important market for you and it's where a lot of your on-premise customer base is, HIPAA may still be really important to you, even though it's not tier 1. So this will look a little bit different for all of you depending on where your customer base is. So then once you've got this kind of ranking, you can balance the desired frameworks against your effort considerations. So things that we look at Atlassian are, what are we already complying with? What controls do we already have in place? And then we perform a gap analysis, which is which controls are we missing? And then when we're looking at investing in additional controls, we tend to ask ourselves, will this control help me get one compliance framework, or will it apply to multiple compliance frameworks? Because obviously you get a little more bang for your buck investing in a control that works for multiple. For example, ISO and SOC have a fair amount of overlap. If you get one, you may have a lot of controls in place already for another. Or things like FedRAMP will require us to get a lot of controls in place that will help us with other regional government compliance. We also recommend just kind of following Atlassian's roadmap. So we've made investments based on what our customers are asking for, kind of all of the things that I just went over. So if you want to just use our work, you can look at our roadmap. You can go to atlassian.com/roadmap/cloud and filter by trust-related topics like compliance, data management, scale, security, etc. Customers often are looking for the same things from apps that they are looking for from our products. So this work is already done. All right, and with that, I just want to say thank you so much. Thanks for thinking about trust.